I'm sure there's been the occasional viewer that wonders why I get so angry about movies sometimes. Well, film is something that I'm very passionate about. Every movie that I see goes from something I'll either praise with comments or hate with every cell of my brain. And speak of the literal devil, we have ourselves in Search for the Titanic, aka Tentacolino. Remember that stupid octopus that inadvertently sunk the Titanic in the last movie? Yeah, he got a movie named after himself. Except A, he has minimal involvement in the story, and B, his name isn't even Tentacles anymore. His name is Audie or something now. I don't know, they changed a bunch of these characters' names and none of the voice actors returned. Our movie begins with a submarine built of very 21st century looking technology being carried down to the wreckage of the Titanic. The submarine's passengers are newlyweds Juan and Elizabeth. Why are they going down to see the Titanic? Oh, I'm sorry. Were you expecting an answer? Well, that was it. They don't tell us! Elizabeth and Juan are barely even involved in this plot. Instead, it's the animals that have most of the focus. And maybe that was a good thing, because the guy who voices Juan now sounds like a sexual predator. Anyway, a bunch of sharks, who may or may not be the same ones from the last movie, decide to cut the cable lines and send the submarine plummeting to the bottom of the ocean. The sharks are led by Razorteeth, who raps while wearing the uniform of the supposedly alive Titanic's captain. Yeah, you heard me, a rapping shark. I am officially convinced that these movies are committed to being worse than the last. Remember that terrible CGI we had in the last movie? Well, instead of taking place at night and at least trying to hide how crappy it was, here they show it in broad daylight. In my review of the last movie, I said the dialogue was rushed. This time around, they're not even trying. There's one line where Connor says with a smile on his face and happy as a pothead, "There's something definitely wrong here, and trust me, we're in trouble. Trust me, it's really big." There's also a squid that sounds like a lame Kermit the Frog impression, a voice to the villain's butler that makes him sound like the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz, and only God can help me now, a jack-in-the-box fish named Pingo who's a total pansy and one of the most annoying characters in this movie! People, I'm not making fun of these characters because I think they're gay. I'm making fun of them because they're gay stereotypes and they're obnoxious. Pingo repeatedly yells the word fabulous. Do these filmmakers know of any gay people that aren't on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy? So with Elizabeth and Juan sunken, Razorteeth sends a telegram, seriously, the shark sends a telegram, to our new villain, Baron Vandertilt. Oh, sorry, that was a typo. Did I say new villain? I meant new name to our old villain because he's obviously the exact same antagonist from the last movie, except with red hair instead of gray this time. With the submarine sunken, who comes to rescue our protagonist? Why, Audie the octopus, of course. He's also joined by, get this, Atlanteans who use spray cans to form bubbles around the heads of these characters so they won't drown. Underwater spray cans. Order it for your child now. From this scene, we also get an example of how the dialogue has improved since the last movie. It might as well be the same script as The Room. When Audie realizes Razorteeth is behind this, he angrily declares, "I swear if something bad happens to my friends, I'll rip every tooth out of that shark and I'll make it into the most beautiful necklace you've ever seen." And here's one of my personal favorites about when an Atlantean was rescuing Smile the dog. He was muttering gibberish, which made no sense at all. That's what gibberish is! If I'm going to say anything positive about this movie, it would be that the animation is more vibrant than its predecessor. But that doesn't excuse these stupid character designs. The Atlanteans look like Captain Planet ripoffs, and sometimes these characters are talking without their mouths opening whatsoever. Telepathy, go figure. But the one character I think was a bad design from the start was the King of Atlantis, because this guy looks like a green ring wraith. And you might be thinking, oh, that doesn't make him evil. No, this guy is evil. Here's an example of his diabolical intentions. He's had the humans and their animals healed of their injuries and says they need to be given the elixir of life to make them immortal. They don't tell them what they're drinking, and worst of all, they can't leave Atlantis once they've taken it! The king of Atlantis just slipped them the mother of all roofies! So now that our protagonists are stuck in Atlantis, they have to adjust to the fact that they can never leave. Oh, what's that? No, we're not going to focus on that story arc. We're going to pay attention to a rebellion of pirate rats. I am actually trying to find ways of making this movie watchable, and this film does the exact opposite. Connors and Ronnie are taken by the group of rats to a secret meeting. They want to leave Atlantis because they're tired of the king and his royal court. I've been here 5 minutes and I already am. They want to return to the surface world with the aid of razor teeth and take the elixir of life with them so they can take over the world. And you know where they discuss these plans of escaping the tyrannical Atlantis? Outside of the freaking city! What is stopping you from leaving Atlantis with the elixir if you've clearly done this before? They don't even guard their eternity juice because apparently nobody was interested in taking it. And did anybody else notice that this movie has almost nothing to do with the Titanic? Oh, but we do get a mention in the middle of the movie. Yeah, a radio announcer briefly mentions the mythical ship of the Titanic having sunk. Mythical? It was a real ship, you jackhats! Real ship, real people died, and somehow you profited from it! Connors and Ronnie run and tell the king about the planned heist for the elixir. What's his plan of action? Let it happen, of course. Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Ah! So Connors and Ronnie help the rats steal the elixir, which Pingo manages to switch with a vial of water. And thank God that Ronnie gets the excuse to punch Pingo, because I swear I would have found a way to climb through that screen and do it myself. With the rats and the sharks escaping, Razorteeth reveals the plan of his boss, Baron Vandertilt. He's after the treasure that resides within the Titanic. What treasure? What do you expect to find, the friggin' heart of the ocean? So the Atlanteans get ready with a huge army to face the sharks and rats. At their lead is, I swear you are not gonna believe this, but it's true, a Highlander doll in drag named Brumely that pops out of nowhere. You know, for someone of Scottish heritage, I've got the sudden urge to grab a claymore and charge at a certain film studio. In the battle between Atlantis and the rats, I never thought I would ever say those words, the Atlanteans use a laser electric amnesia ray thingy to make Vandertilt forget why he even came to the ocean in the first place. But then there's the other rats who get hit by the ray and they still remember everything clearly by the end, so what gives? The viewers aren't morons! Wow, I can't believe I didn't play that card until now. Now, you would think that this movie is done insulting your intelligence by now, but you're wrong. Whether it was intentional or... No, you know what? This would have to be intentional by this point. The Atlanteans decide to let the humans and animals go to the surface world by putting the Titanic back together and turning it into a futuristic submarine. Atlantis has just turned the Titanic into the ship equivalent of Frankenstein! How have you people not been incarcerated? So Elizabeth, Juan, and the animals are allowed to live on a forgotten island on the surface world where no one will ever find them or know about the existence of Atlantis. Which totally contradicts the concept of the first movie being told through flashback, but hey, I don't care if it means one cartoon movie about the Titanic is virtually impossible to have happened. It's good in my book. Also, the Titanic now has a magic window that lets the characters see anywhere they want in the world. So Connors decides to find out what happened to the rebellious rats that escaped from Atlantis. Well, the king said he would ensure that they were punished. So instead of putting them in jail like he should have, the escaped rats find out the vial was fake and end up driven insane and committed to an asylum for the rest of their immortal lives. Horrible. You are horrible, horrible, horrible people! I am disgusted at how worse this sequel got. This is nearly the equivalent of some jerk renting scuba gear, taking his underwater video camera for an hour-and-a-half long journey to the bottom of the ocean, and then ending it by raping the wreckage of the Titanic. This title doesn't even make any sense. The movie's not about tentacles, the octopus, or searching for the Titanic. It's a stupid movie about Atlantis with too many characters you don't give a crap about, and entertainment so low, even your youngest child will think what the frig's going on. I never thought that 3 animated films about the Titanic could worsen as they went along, but they did. My rating for Tentacolino is a 0. You know what? No, absolutely not. I refuse to deliver this film the satisfaction that it is anything to be appreciated, watched, or even mentioned in any future reference. You want my rating of your Film Mondo TV productions? Well, here you go. I hope you're happy. Go Canuck yourself!